The first blast rattled the armory doors. Dust sifted from the ceiling, sprinkling white onto black uniforms and bloody faces. The steel frame shivered like it might split. Hart spat his gum out and loaded a fresh mag, jaw iron. They're breaching. Everyone ready? Patel limped into position, pistol wobbling in both hands. Sweat streaked her face, blood soaked through her sleeve. But she stood. Tank hefted a shotgun, grinning through cracked teeth. Daz clutched a pistol tight to his chest like a child holding a toy, eyes wide, breath ragged. Miles' rifle trembled against his chest. His fingers slipped on the metal, slick with sweat and blood. His throat was raw from choking and screaming. He whispered it without meaning to. "We can't hold here." Hart heard him, snap back. "We don't hold. We fight out. Backstairs. We cut through before they box us in." The second blast hit. Hinges screamed. Bolts buckled. Then the door blew inward. Figures in black surged through the smoke. Rifles barked. The world turned into strobe light, muzzle flashes and sparks. Bullets chewed lockers to scrap. Ammo boxes burst, spilling rounds like teeth across the floor. The air was instant heat and cordite. Hart roared, firing point blank into the first man through. Blood sprayed the racks. The body folded in half. Miles screamed and pulled his trigger. His first burst went wild, shattering light tubes, but his second found flesh. A gunman jerked, spun, slammed into the wall. Tank charged like a bull, shotgun booming, the blast echoing off steel walls. A masked attacker went flying, half his chest gone. But the storm was endless. Patel screamed as rounds tore into her torso. 3 flashes, 3 holes. She staggered, pistol firing into the ceiling, then slammed into the wall and slid down, eyes wide, mouth opening but no sound coming. The pistol clattered from her hand. Price went next. A burst in the throat. Blood sprayed in an arc, painting the racks. He clutched at it, gurgling, collapsing in a jerking heap. Hart fought like a man possessed. His pistol cracked dry, slide locked, so he hurled it at a gunman's face and charged with his baton. He smashed teeth through a mask, bone cracking under the blow. The gunman reeled, only for another to stitch him with bullets. Hart staggered, blood bursting from his chest, but still he swung. Still he fought. "Come on!" he roared, voice breaking. He brought the baton down one last time. Then a shot took half his skull. He dropped to his knees, gum and blood spilling together, then fell still. Miles' heart split. Hart, the jokes, the steady voice, the hand on his shoulder, was gone in a blink, sprawled in red. Through the carnage, Clark stood still, cuffed, calm, eyes pale. The attackers swarmed around him, covering him, dragging him toward the door like he was treasure. Miles' throat tore as he screamed. "No!" He lunged, the rifle jammed. He smacked it against a rack, panic rising, but Clark was already vanishing into smoke. For a heartbeat, their eyes met. Cold, steady, knowing. Then Clark was gone, swallowed by the gunman. "Move, lad!" "Now!" Tank bellowed, grabbing him by the collar. Miles fired blind into the haze, screaming, until Tank dragged him bodily through the back door. Daz stumbled after them, squealing, firing wild shots that sparked off walls and lockers, every round wasted. The corridor beyond was painted red by alarms. Smoke poured through broken vents. Behind them, the armory was carnage. Bodies sprawled in heaps, shell casings rolling, racks peppered with holes. Hart, Patel, Price, names carved in blood. Only Tank, Daz, and Miles staggered out alive. They crashed down the stairwell, boots hammering, clutching stolen weapons. Their breathing was ragged animal. Outside, the sound shifted. Not alarms, not gunfire. Sirens, real sirens. Miles froze halfway down the stairs, chest heaving. Through a cracked window, he saw them. Vans screeching to a halt, blue lights bouncing off shattered glass. Armored men poured out. Helmets, shields, rifles. SWAT. The cordon slamming shut around the station. For the first time since it began, reinforcements had come. Miles slumped into the shadow of the stairwell, the rifle heavy and slick in his hands. His vision swam. His phone buzzed. He nearly dropped it, pulling it free. "Lisa, everything okay?" "I've just seen the news." His throat locked. His fingers smeared the screen with blood as he stared at her words. In the reflection of the glass, he saw himself, pale, shaking, blood splattered. Not a rookie anymore. Not even a cop. Something else. He couldn't answer. Couldn't breathe. Tank dragged at his arm. We can't stop. Not now. Daz whimpered, pistol still shaking in his hands. They've got Clark, mate. They've got him. They ain't done. Miles shoved the phone away, rifle clutched to his chest, heart pounding like it might burst. The corridor ahead was thick with smoke. Every doorway spilled ghosts. Deeper inside, gunfire rattled. Voices barked in a language none of them recognized. The station wasn't theirs anymore. It was a battlefield, and Miles was still in it. The custody block stank of cordite and copper. Smoke clung to the ceiling, alarms whining like a dying animal. Shutters were down, doors sealed. Pale morning light poured through high windows, slicing across the haze like knives. Clark stood in the center, pale eyes calm, every movement deliberate. Not a prisoner, not a fugitive, a conductor. The Russians pressed close, rifles twitching. Their voices ripped the air. Мы окружены. Их слишком много. We're surrounded. Too many of them. Они подтягивают спецназ. They're bringing SWAT. Все кончено. Мы умрем здесь. It's over. We'll die here. Clark raised one hand. Just that. The room froze. His voice was smooth, unhurried. No, we don't die here. We write the next act. Bodies lay everywhere. Uniforms, prison jumpsuits, faces twisted in shock. Some moaned weakly. Most didn't move at all. Clark's gaze slid over them like an artist surveying his palette. A young CDO clawed at the tiles, blood streaming down her tunic. Clark crouched, watched her struggle. Then he straightened, turned to his men, and pointed at the glass window. Bring me one. They hauled a broken prisoner up by his collar. The man's eyes rolled in terror. Clark walked him slow to the reinforced window where daylight glared through smoke. Police of London, Clark's voice carried across the street. Calm, stage perfect. You think you are hunters, but you are the audience. He shoved the hostage into the glass, pressed a pistol to his head. Cameras zoomed. Every phone on the street filmed. This man dies not because I must kill him, Clark's voice hardened, but because you forced me to show you my script. The pistol cracked. Blood burst across the window, streaking down like red paint. The body crumpled. Outside, screams. Officers shouting. The public pressed harder at the cordon, phones raised higher. Clark lowered the pistol. His pale eyes gleamed in the sun. And that, he said softly, is only the opening act. The Russians muttered, frantic. Ты сумасшедший. You're insane. Это разозлит их еще больше. This will only enrage them. Мы должны найти выход сейчас. We must find a way out now. Clark cut them off with a gesture. Anger is noise. Fear is silence. And silence is ours to shape. He walked to the huddled survivors. Prisoners, CDOs, constables, all pale and shaking. Their petty crimes, their routine custody duties, their swagger and boredom meant nothing now. They were staring at something they had never seen before. Clark pointed to the cells. Put them inside. Each one. The Russians dragged the living, shoving them into cells, locking doors. The clang of steel echoed. Clark added, voice cold, and give them company. They pulled the corpses, police, prisoners, broken and bloodied, and dumped one in each cell. Bodies slumped against the living, blood pooling on the floor. The hostages screamed, pressed themselves into corners, gagging at the smell. Clark tilted his head, watching them. Now, he said quietly, they understand. If they move too fast, if they shout too loud, their neighbor reminds them where they'll end up. His smile was faint. It's theater. Props and actors, a reminder of the script. Then came the phones, buzzing, vibrating, ringing. From the living, muffled ringtones, message alerts, desperate calls from loved ones. From the dead, shrill tones that would never be answered. A constable sobbed, clutching her cracked phone. It's my dad. Oh, God, a prisoner muttered, voice breaking. That's me, Bird. She's seen it on telly. And in the corner, a dead officer's phone buzzed in his bloodied pocket, screen lighting up again and again. Mum calling. Another corpse's phone lit with text previews. Where are you? Please answer. I'm scared. The devices rattled on the tiles like insects. The sound became unbearable. Grief and panic bleeding in from the outside world, reaching both the living and the dead. Clark walked among them, listening to the chorus. His voice cut through. Do you hear it? That is not love. That is desperation. They call corpses and expect an answer. They call you and bury you in panic. Phones are not lifelines. They are shackles. He plucked a phone from the floor, screen glowing with Sarah. 12 missed calls. Clark pressed accept and lifted it to his ear. The voice on the other end was cracked with tears. James? James, please. Clark said nothing for a long moment. Then in a voice calm and precise, he answered, James is no longer here, but I am. Tell the world Spectre is alive. Screams erupted on the line before Clark hung up and smashed the phone against the floor. The hostages sobbed harder. Some clutched their phones like crucifixes. Others dropped them as if they burned. The dead's devices kept ringing, screens glowing in blood-slick hands. Clark looked over them all. Every vibration is leverage. Every unanswered call is theater. This station is no longer a place of law. It is a stage. And you, he gestured with an open hand, you are props. At the desk, he ripped the custody map from the wall, stabbed pale fingers against key points. Charges here, here, and here. If they breach, walls fall. Everyone dies. Them, us. It doesn't matter. The message matters. One Russian hesitated. Если мы убьем заложников, мы потеряем рычаги. If we kill the hostages, we lose leverage. Clark's voice snapped like a whip. No, their blood is leverage. Their screams are leverage. Their silence is leverage. Dead or alive, they are mine. He seized a dead sergeant's radio, thumb transmit. His voice echoed clear in daylight, across the cordon.